Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of My Life Lemons. Okay, so I'm one of those people who loves to drink coffee, and earlier this year I just decided to just drink brewed or pressed coffee. So I'm left with a lot of coffee grounds most of the time. So I did some research and welcome to our segment, These 3 Things. How to reuse coffee grounds. First up is how to fix scratches on wooden furniture. Things we need: damp coffee grounds, cotton buds, and your scratched furniture. Well, technically this is an instrument. It's actually a piano. We've had this quite a while already, that's why there's a lot of scratches and some dents as well. So basically the fix is you use the cotton buds to apply the coffee grounds to the scratched surfaces of the wood. So as you can see here, I'm taking the coffee grounds and lightly rubbing it onto the scratches. The coffee grounds that I do have are really coarse, so I'm trying to be careful as well not to make more scratches with it. So according to what I read, used coffee grounds have oils that can help mask the furniture scratches. Letting the coffee grounds sit for a couple of hours will help the coffee oils to penetrate the scratches on the wood. Tedious to do, but I really wanted to test it on all the obvious scratches on the piano just to make sure if this fix does work. So I set my timer for 2 hours. And here's the outcome. Honestly, I didn't see much of a difference at all. There was some slight darkening in some areas of the scratches, but it was nothing significant or obvious that I can say that this is a great or even a good fix. I'm not sure if the coarseness of the coffee grounds had anything to do with it. Maybe it wasn't enough to get a good amount of coffee oils, or maybe it wasn't dark enough to stain the scratches. This fix just might probably work better if you can redo the process at least 2 or 3 or maybe 4 more times. But I would highly suggest to just use a pen wood stain. So on to the next, how to antique paper. Materials will need a tray or maybe any container that's deep enough to submerge the paper. Of course, the paper that you want to antique, damp or wet coffee grounds, and some hot water. So here I just mixed the coffee grounds, and then I poured it on the tray. I didn't actually have to do this part. I just enjoyed the spreading on the tray. And then I added the hot water. I made sure that it was evenly spread on the tray. Add water as needed. I wasn't sure how this will turn out, so I made experiments. So this is paper number 1. I'm sorry for this slightly blurry video. I wasn't able to focus it at the time. This was the first experiment. I steeped the paper in for 10 minutes. This process made the paper softer, so it was prone to tears. I decided to dry this outside. Sort of marks on it. I had to add some more water because the paper isn't sinking fast enough. For this one, I decided to steep the paper for 30 minutes. Paper number 3, I use half of a copy paper because I wanted to use another paper to steep alongside with this. The last 2 papers, I decided to steep them for an hour. These 2 papers were air dried indoors. So this is paper number 1, which was air dried outside. I used a face brush to take off the excess coffee grounds on the paper. Don't worry, I don't use this face brush anymore. It turned really scratchy on the face. I didn't much like how this turned out. It looked dirty and not antique looking at all. So here's paper number 2. This was the one that I crumpled. This had more coffee grounds than the first paper. Sure if those dark marks were the result of crumpling the paper, but I liked how this looked better than the first paper. Kinda old looking and distressed. So this is paper number 3. Like I said earlier, this was dried indoors as well as paper number 4. Right off the bat, I really liked how this turned out. The paper overall stain really gave the paper an antique look. And this was paper number 4. Okay, I just plucked this out from one of my stationery notebooks. This turned out really good as well. It gave it a nice vintage vibe. So here they are. Again, paper number 1. Just personally love how this DIY went. It's probably something that I will do again. And now for part 3, how to make coffee candles. Materials we need: used candle wax, used ground coffee, dried, wick, the candle container, and a recycled tin can thoroughly washed. As for the preparation, I decided to stick my wick first to the container. I poured in the candle wax shavings in the tin can. I then added some of the coffee grounds into the candle container. I then used the double boiler technique to melt the wax. I then let the melted wax cool down for a minute or 2, and then I proceeded to pouring it in the candle container. Always be careful in handling anything hot. I then placed some ground coffee on top of the melted wax. Then I use these large popsicle sticks or tongue depressors to keep the wick in place and straight. Then I set the timer to 3 hours and wait for the candle to set. So here's the finished coffee candle. I trimmed the wick. I then closed the lid to test and make sure that the candle was attached securely inside the container. And I'm just glad that it was. So here's the coffee candle and antique paper. Just a disclaimer, I did light up this coffee candle and I have to say that it didn't smell any coffee scent at